The Sowing of the Broken Cultivation Realm. Chapter 1, The Morning Light of Travel. The morning light shone through the jade-colored window frames into the quiet cultivation hall, and there was a faint fragrance of spiritual energy floating in the air, as if every ray of sunlight was whispering blessings. Yaking Guo stretched his waist, feeling that the muscles and bones he had cultivated for 10 years had awakened in this morning light. For 10 years, she has had a smooth journey, almost never encountering any real challenges, and even Master Soul Lion's love for her has never decreased by half. Master, today I want to try that new alchemy method. Yaking Guo said softly, with a hint of excitement and expectation in his tone. Soul Lion smiled slightly, and an imperceptible light flashed in his eyes. King Guo, whatever you want, as long as it doesn't hurt the spiritual energy of this section. Yaking Guo was secretly happy in her heart. After 10 years of cultivation, she has honed various basic exercises to the extreme, and Master's favor has made her smooth sailing no matter what she does. But just as she was immersed in this peace, she suddenly felt something strange. Her heart felt like it was being gently pulled by an invisible silk thread. This feeling, it's like being in someone else's story. She muttered to herself. Just as she was wondering, a line of dazzling text suddenly flashed in her mind. Your plot has just begun, and the ending has already been written. Yaking Guo's pupils shrank slightly, and her mind seemed to be hit by a heavy hammer, and all the smooth sailing days suddenly became weird and strange. She turned out to be a person who came through books. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 2, Goldfinger is belated. After 10 years of cultivation, everything seems to be taken for granted. However, the real crisis has just revealed the tip of the iceberg. Yaking Guo had just meditated by the Lingchuan pool when suddenly a golden light fell from the sky, like a meteor falling, wrapping her whole body in it. The light was warm and dazzling, penetrating the bone marrow, making her feel a power churning in her blood that she had never felt before. This is the golden finger? She muttered to herself, her voice filled with horror and anticipation. The light dissipated, and the cruel truth appeared in Yaking Guo's mind. The sect she worked so hard to manage, except for herself, everyone else was the villain in the book. She was stunned, looking at the row of little beings at the door of the hall, gloomy and cowardly, wrapped in black air, like a little ghost forgotten by the world. Master, what the hell are you doing? Yaking Guo's voice trembled, and his heart was mixed. Soul Lion stood in the center of the hall, smiling. If the sect lacks people, there is a shortage of people, and it doesn't hurt to pick up a few. 3 words exploded in Yaking Guo's mind. Tragic preview. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 3, The Myth of the Disciple. Senior brother Lu Lycan narrowed his eyes, walked up to Yaking Guo, and smiled greasy. Senior sister, aren't you angry? I've always been by your side. Yaking Guo looked at him coldly. Lu Lycan, what do you want to do this time? Lu Lycan tilted his head, like a cunning fox. It's nothing, I just like to be lively. The second junior brother Mo Yuchen poked his head out from the corner, with obvious bad intentions in his eyes. Senior sister, don't you plan to use some special method to fix them? Yaking Guo rolled his eyes and thought to himself, this sect has been digging a hole for me for 10 years. The little junior sister Sumengli stood aside sweetly, with a smile on her face. Senior sister, you are tired, I will accompany you to clean up the mess. Yaking Guo instantly understood that the role setting of the disciples completely subverted her worldview. The days of 10 years of smooth sailing turned out to be just a false illusion. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 4, The Secret of the Black Gas Little Bean Cub. As night fell, the lights in the sect's morning hall were dim, and the green lights reflected the gloomy figures of the little beans. Yaking Guo sat at the desk, staring at these seemingly cowardly children. Everyone was wrapped in black energy, as if they had absorbed the darkness of the world, but their eyes were full of unusual wisdom and calculation. She reached out and wanted to probe their soul state, but found that these children were not ordinary ghosts or demons, but pawns secretly arranged by Master Soul Lion, each of whom contained extremely strong potential and secrets. Master, what have you been doing all these years? Yaking Guo gritted his teeth in his heart, thinking about how to deal with the crisis in front of him without destroying the sect. She suddenly smiled, with a hint of madness in her smile. Okay, since the world is going to collapse, let me sow and mend. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 5, The Overture to the Broken World. At dawn, visions appeared between heaven and earth outside the sect, cracks in the blue clouds, spiritual energy flowing backwards, and monsters raging. King Guo stood on the spirit platform, looking at the broken sky, his heart was cold. Senior brother Liu Liken will become the lord of the demon realm. Second brother Mo Yuchen will rule the ghost realm. Younger brother Su Mengli is destined to be the lord of the demon realm. Master, probably has completely become obsessed with love. Okay, King Guo, you really have to clean up the mess by yourself this time. She took a deep breath, her spiritual power surging, and the fate of the entire sect trembled in her hands. In the night sky, a low voice suddenly came from the cracks, as if announcing that a new chaos was about to begin. King Guo clenched her fists and secretly vowed, even if the heavens and the earth are broken, this sect will be sewn up from the wreckage, even if the whole world is not on her side. Chapter 6, The Beginning of the Conspiracy. In the early morning, the spiritual spring pool of the sect glowed with a pale golden light, and King Guo squatted by the pool, frowning. Senior brother Liu Liken sneaked up to her side and said in a frivolous tone, "Senior sister, why do you look a little nervous?" Nervous? King Guo snorted coldly, "This is called alertness, because each of you may be digging a hole for me behind my back." Liu Liken blinked, as if he didn't understand, but quietly approached the pool water, gently plucked the golden light with his fingers, and the water waves swayed, reflecting the gloomy faces of Xiao Doubting. King Guo secretly shouted in his heart, "These children are not only full of black energy, but their souls are more like they are controlled by some dark force, and everyone may be the embodiment of the future villain." "Master, you are, release the little devil?" she asked in her heart. Soul Lion smiled faintly, "What is taken in is the hope of the future, but hope can also be the biggest threat." King Guo took a deep breath and secretly calculated in his heart, to sow a way of life of his own in this chaotic sect. Chapter 7, The Little Junior Sisters Raid. In the afternoon, Su Mengli held a bottle of crystal spiritual water in her hand and ran towards King Guo bouncing. "Senior sister, I bring new spiritual water to ensure that your spiritual power is enhanced." She blinked her big eyes, innocent and full of lethality. King Guo stretched out his hand to take the bottle, but found that the cold air emitted by the spiritual water was extremely strong, and he immediately felt that his whole body was reversed. "Little junior sister, do you want to harm me?" She frowned. Su Mengli smiled innocently, "Senior sister, you are too sensitive, I just want to help you. By the way, test the spiritual power." King Guo broke out in a cold sweat while feeling the abnormal fluctuations of her spiritual power, and thought to herself, "This little junior sister, I am afraid that the power of the Lord of the Demon Realm will not be covered in the future." As night fell, she stood alone on the spirit platform, looking at the cracks in the starry sky, and muttered to herself, "The world is broken, and these disciples will be sewn up by me." Chapter 8, Master's Love Brain. Soul Lion suddenly appeared on the spirit platform, holding a bouquet of luminous flowers in her hand, and her tone was sweet. "King Guo, do you think my flower is beautiful?" King Guo was stunned. "This is Master?" He was mysterious and controlled all the secrets of the sect on weekdays, but he actually... Love brain? "Master, what are you doing?" King Guo couldn't help but ask. Soul Lion smiled mysteriously, "Life is short, even if the world collapses, I still need someone to accompany me to enjoy the flowers." King Guo choked speechlessly and muttered to himself, "This world really wants me to mend the mess alone." Chapter 9, The Rebellion of the Black Gas Little Bean Ding. Late at night, several small beans quietly gathered, and black gas steamed up from them. "Senior sister is too soft to us, so it is not easy to control the future," a little bean said in a low voice. "Yes, we have to wait for Master to make a move before letting them taste real power," another small bean chimed echoed. King Guo overheard it, and his heart sank. It turned out that these little beans were not only gloomy and cowardly, but also secretly rebellious and calculating. She clenched her fists and said coldly, "If you want to betray me, just pass me first." Chapter 10, Mo Yuchen's Prank. Mo Yuchen quietly sneaked into the alchemy room and quietly exchanged a few bottles of elixirs for invalid products. When King Guo walked into the alchemy room with the elixir, he instantly felt an abnormal fluctuation of spiritual power. Mo Yuchen! She shouted angrily, but saw him smiling slyly. Senior sister, you really read that right, the alchemy room is my favorite playground. Yeking Guo shook his head helplessly. These two junior brothers, the power of the future lord of the ghost world, I am afraid that they should not be underestimated. She secretly decided in her heart that from now on, every disciple must set up a safety line, otherwise the sect will be ruined by them. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 11, The Broken Spirit Platform. A sudden monster attack caused the sect's spirit platform to crack, and the spiritual energy was overflowing. Yeking Guo was shocked, and hurriedly urged all his strength to protect the barrier and stitch the spirit platform. Lu Lycan stood aside, his eyes flashing. Senior sister, you are so tired that you might as well leave it to me. Yeking Guo rolled his eyes. You will only add to the chaos. The crack in the spirit platform was sewn up by her, but there was a faint dark red light in the crack. This was a harbinger of the power of the future demon world. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 12, Foreshadowing of the Demon Realm. Su Mengli practiced alone by the spirit lake at night, and the lake reflected her demonic aura. Yeking Guo secretly observed and understood in his heart, the little junior sister must be the lord of the demon world in the future, with great potential, but also full of dangers. Senior sister, won't you help me try a new spell? Su Mengli smiled sweetly, but a hint of cunning flashed in her eyes. Yeking Guo had no choice but to keep an eye on her every move, secretly planning how to bring this demonic power under control. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 13, The Shadow of the Demon World. The night was as dark as ink. Senior disciple Lu Lycan walked alone towards the back mountain of the sect, surrounded by black air and with extremely strong fluctuations in his spiritual power. Yeking Guo followed secretly, but found that Lu Lycan was actually communicating with an unknown demon spirit. Senior sister, you really don't understand the rules of the demon world. Lu Lycan smiled grimly, and a coldness flashed in his eyes. Yeking Guo's heart was shocked. The power of the future lord of the demon realm is by no means something she can easily control. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 14, The Call of the Ghost Realm. Mo Yuchen practiced in the cemetery at night, filled with yin energy and whispering with the dead. Yeking Guo's heart trembled slightly. Will the power of the ghost world in the future of these two junior brothers bite back at the sect? She gritted her teeth secretly. As long as the disciple is not well behaved, the responsibility for mending the mess will fall on her. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 15, Master's Secret Plan. Soul Lion sat in the moonlight and whispered to himself, it's been 10 years, and it's finally time to. All the villains have gathered. When Yeking Guo heard this, his heart jumped suddenly. It turned out that Master had been secretly planning to gather all the villains in the book into the sect. Master, what kind of layout are you? She shouted in her heart, but under the moonlight, Soul Lion just smiled, as if everything in the world was under his control. Yeking Guo took a deep breath. The broken sect, the real challenge, has just begun. Chapter 16, Trials in the Rift. The fog of dawn filled the back mountain of the sect, and Yeking Guo stood on the spirit stone platform, feeling the restless aura emanating from the cracks. Lu Lycan quietly appeared, looking excited. Senior sister, do you feel it? The power in the cracks is exciting, isn't it? Yeking Guo frowned. Excitement? This is a harbinger of disaster. Mo Yuchen laughed quietly next to him, surrounded by black air, as if he was enjoying the chaos. His gaze fell deep into the crack and he murmured in a low voice, this is the beginning of the future ghost realm. Su Mengli took the opportunity to practice demonic magic by the lake, and her demonic figure was reflected on the water, as if the whole world was spinning around these young geniuses. Yeking Guo secretly thought in his heart, if we don't take advantage of the current checks and balances, the sect will fall apart in the future. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 17, Black Gas Spreads. Under the night, there was a sudden sound of low breathing from the morning hall of the sect, and the little beans were wrapped in black chi and slowly gathered into a dark vortex. King Guo felt a slight vibration in his soul. This power was not ordinary black chi, but a foreshadowing that Master Soul Lion had already secretly laid. Little junior sister, do you feel it too? She asked Su Mingli. Su Mingli nodded, a hint of cunning flashed in her eyes. Senior sister, I think it's interesting. King Guo broke out in a cold sweat. The tragedy of the destruction of all these little ghosts in the future has already sprouted in the shadows today. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 18, Master's Love Trap. In the early morning, Soul Lion appeared in front of King Guo again with a luminous flower in his hand, smiling gently and strangely. King Guo, do you think this flower is fragrant? King Guo was speechless and choked. This master, who was mysterious and controlled all the secrets of the sect on weekdays, was completely in love. Master, is it acting? King Guo couldn't help but ask. Soul Lion's eyes were soft. Even if the world is broken, at least some people appreciate the flowers. King Guo gritted his teeth secretly. The whole world is in tatters. I still have to mend the sect, but you are admiring the flowers? Underscore 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 un. Chapter 19, The First Appearance of the Lord of the Demon Realm. Late at night, Lu Lycan quietly sneaked into the forbidden land of the sect, surrounded by black energy, devouring the night like a demonic flame. King Guo followed secretly, but saw Lu Lycan and the demon spirit whispering, and the black gas wrapped around the entire sky like silk threads. Senior sister, you don't understand the rules of the demon world. Lu Lycan smiled grimly, and a coldness flashed in his eyes. King Guo's heart sank. The power of the future lord of the demon realm was beyond her imagination, and the crisis of the sect was even more serious than she imagined. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 20, The Temptation of the Power of the Demon World. Su Mingli practiced alone by the spirit lake at night, and the lake reflected her strange aura. King Guo secretly observed, felt the fluctuations in the demonic power, and thought to himself, the little junior sister will definitely become the lord of the demon world in the future, but if this power cannot be controlled, the sect will definitely be unsustainable. Senior sister, why don't you come and try my new spell? Su Mingli smiled sweetly, but there was cunning in her eyes. King Guo could only secretly remind himself, this demonic power must not be left alone. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 21, The Shadow of the Ghost Realm. Mo Yuchen practiced in the cemetery at night, filled with yin energy and whispering with the dead. King Guo followed quietly, and when he saw him communicating with ghosts, he was shocked. The future power of the ghost world may bite back at the entire sect. She gritted her teeth secretly. If the disciple is not good, the heavy responsibility of mending the mess will fall entirely on her. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 22, Warning of the Crack in the Spirit Platform. A sudden monster attack caused cracks in the sect's spiritual platform and disordered spiritual energy. King Guo hurriedly activated the protective barrier and sewed up the spiritual platform. Lu Lycan stood aside, his eyes flashing. Senior sister, you are so tired, why don't you leave it to me? King Guo rolled his eyes, you will only add to the chaos. The crack was stitched, but the dark red light was faintly visible, which was a harbinger of the future power of the demon world. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 23, The Little Junior Sister's Demon Shadow. Su Mingli practiced by the lake at night, and a strange figure was reflected on the water. King Guo observed her movements and felt that the potential was extraordinary, but it also contained danger. Senior sister, won't you help me try a new spell? Su Mingli smiled sweetly, but cunning flashed in her eyes. King Guo had no choice but to keep an eye on her every move. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 24, The Call of the Demon Realm. The night was like ink. Lu Lycan walked alone to the back mountain of the sect, surrounded by black energy, and the spiritual power fluctuated extremely strongly. King Guo followed secretly and saw him communicating with the demon spirit, his voice full of provocation. Senior sister, you really don't understand the rules of the demon world. Lu Lycan smiled sinisterly. King Guo's heart sank. The threat of the power of the demon world in the future was even more severe than she expected. Chapter 25, Master's Overall Layout. Soul Lion sat in the moonlight and whispered to himself, it's been 10 years, and it's finally time to. All the villains have gathered. When King Guo heard this, his heart jumped suddenly. It turns out that Master has been secretly planning to gather all the villains in the book into the sect. Master, what kind of layout are you? She shouted in her heart, but under the moonlight, Soul Lion just smiled, as if she was in control of the world. King Guo took a deep breath. The broken sect, the real challenge, has just begun. Chapter 26, Undercurrents Surging. The silence before dawn was broken by the changes in the back mountain. King Guo noticed the abnormal fluctuation of spiritual power. Lu Lycan and Mo Yuchen appeared in the forbidden land of the sect at the same time, and the black energy and yin energy were intertwined, forming a strange vortex. Little junior sister, you go and protect Spirit Lake first. King Guo ordered, his eyes as sharp as a knife. Su Mengli left in response, her figure elongated in the moonlight, and the strange light flashed. King Guo took a deep breath, knowing that this trial was unusual. The power of the disciples was running amok in advance. Chapter 27, The Flame of the Demon Realm. Lu Lycan chuckled, and the demonic flame in his hand ignited, echoing the crack on the spirit stone platform. Senior sister, do you want to clean up the mess yourself? Lu Lycan smiled gloomily. King Guo did not back down and used all his strength to suppress it. The spiritual power collided with the demonic flame, and sparks flew. In the midair of the sect, spiritual light and black energy intertwined, as if heaven and earth were trembling. This was the beginning of the power of the Lord of the Demon Realm. If it was not controlled early, the entire sect would fall into irreparable chaos. Chapter 28, Whispers of the Ghost Realm. Mo Yuchen whispered in the ancient tomb. The undead stirred with yin energy, and the runes on the tombstone flickered. King Guo quietly observed, feeling a chill in his heart. The power of the ghost world of the second junior brother was enough to devour the spiritual energy of the entire sect, even for a moment. She decided that from now on, she must strictly monitor every disciple, even her senior brother and junior sister, no exception. Chapter 29, The Temptation of the Demon World. Su Mengli cast a demonic spell in the spirit lake. The water waves surged, meandering and floating like a spirit snake, and the demonic energy rose with it. Senior sister, don't you think this is beautiful? Su Mengli blinked, a hint of cunning flashed in her eyes. King Guo looked at her actions, and her heart sank. The first appearance of the power of the demon world is not only beautiful, but also extremely dangerous. Your power is too free and must be sewn up early. King Guo had a secret plan in his heart. Chapter 30, Song of the Rift. At night, a low chanting sound suddenly came from the crack of the spirit platform, which seemed to echo the vision of heaven and earth outside the sect. King Guo felt a shock in his heart. This voice was both familiar and unfamiliar, like some kind of warning, and also like a prelude to future power. Lu Lycan, Mo Yuchen, and the little junior sister were all secretly cultivating in the vision, and the black energy, yin energy, and demonic energy were intertwined into a storm. King Guo gritted his teeth silently and secretly vowed, "Sew up the sect, even if you are alone, you must support this broken world." Chapter 31, Master's Sweet Trap. Soul Lion appeared again, holding a luminous flower in his hand, and his voice was soft. "King Guo, would you like to accompany me to watch the collapse of this world?" King Guo choked speechlessly. This master, who usually controls the entire sect, is now completely in love. "Master, what the hell are you, layout or relaxation? Yeking Gluo couldn't help but ask. Soul Lion smiled mysteriously, while admiring the flowers. I am also observing the chess pieces. Yeking Gluo's heart sank. It turns out that Master has already controlled all the villains and chess pieces, but she has never noticed it. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 32, Little Doubt is Resistance. Several small beans gathered at night, and the figures covered in black gas were intertwined. Senior sister is too soft, we can test the bottom line. One of them whispered. Yeking Gluo hid in the dark to observe, sweating in his heart. These children are not only cowardly, but also contain rebellious and dangerous power. Want to rebel? Pass me first. Yeking Gluo whispered in his heart. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 33, The Rampage of the Power of the Demon World. Lu Lycan used the power of the demon world again, and the cracks on the spirit platform continued to expand, and the flames swallowed up the air. Yeking Gluo had to suppress it with all his might, and the spiritual power collided with the demonic flame, causing the earth to tremble slightly. She thought to herself, the future lord of the demon world is by no means easily controlled by her, and the fate of the sect will face unprecedented challenges. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 34, The Trial of the Power of the Ghost World. Mo Yuchen summoned the undead in the depths of the ancient tomb, and the evil energy spread like a surging tide. Yeking Gluo followed quietly, feeling her soul tremble slightly. The power of the second junior brother has exceeded her imagination. If there is no check, the entire sect may be swallowed up. She silently vowed in her heart, even if she had to fight against her disciples, she would keep the bottom line of the sect. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 35, The Temptation and Threat of the Demon World. Su Mengli cast a demonic spell in the spirit lake, the water waves rolled, and the demonic aura wrapped around her body like a snake. Senior sister, don't you think this is exciting? She blinked, and the demonic aura fluctuated in the night sky, reflecting a strange light. Yeking Gluo looked at her, secretly warning in his heart, if this demonic power gets out of control, it will directly threaten the safety of the sect, and the heavy responsibility of mending this broken world will all fall on her. In the night wind, the cracks in the spirit platform faintly flashed red, like a warning and a precursor to future power. Chapter 36, Crack Expansion. At dawn, the crack in the sect's spiritual platform widened again, and the spiritual energy fluctuated in a disorder, as if the lifeblood of the entire sect was shaking. Yeking Gluo stood on the spirit platform, his brows furrowed, and his spiritual power rolled like a tide. Lu Lycan stood by the crack, his eyes flashing with demonic flames. Senior sister, do you want to hold on to all this by yourself? It's my responsibility to hold on. Yeking Gluo replied coldly. She understood that if the spirit platform was not stabilized, the sect would usher in irreparable collapse. The little junior sister Su Mengli quietly approached the lake. The demonic energy resonated with the cracks in the spirit platform, and the lake water vibrated slightly. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 37, Trial of the Night. Night fell over the sect's back mountain. Mo Yuchen entered the depths of the ancient tomb alone. Evil spirits spread and the dead whispered. Yeking Gluo followed, secretly shouting in his heart. The power of the second junior brother ran wild so quickly, if there was no check, the power of the ghost world would swallow the entire sect in the future. Lu Lycan appeared from the shadow of the tree, and the demonic flame ignited the night sky. Senior sister, you are late, don't steal my fun. Yeking Gluo clenched his fists, and his spiritual power turned into a protective barrier, enveloping the entire valley with light and darkness intertwined in the night sky, shaking the mountains and rocks to shatter. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 38, The Stupidity of the Demon World. Su Mengli performed a demonic spell by the lake, the water waves rolled, and the demonic aura surged like a tide. Yeking Gluo was secretly vigilant in his heart. The little junior sister will be the lord of the demon world in the future, and her power potential is infinite, but if she is allowed to develop freely, the sect will definitely fall into chaos. Senior sister, why don't you try this new spell? Su Mingli smiled sweetly, but there was a cunning light in her eyes. Ye King Guo frowned, took a deep breath, and secretly decided, this force must be mended and controlled. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 39, Master's Overall Layout. Soul Lion sat under the moonlight, holding a luminous flower in her hand, her eyes soft but full of meaning. It's been 10 years, all the villains are in place, and the chess pieces have been assembled. Ye King Guo's heart sank. It turns out that Master has already controlled all the villains in the book, but she has never noticed it. Master, are you a layout or a test? Ye King Guo couldn't help but ask. Soul Lion smiled slightly. Even if the world is broken, there are still people who appreciate flowers. Ye King Guo gritted his teeth secretly in his heart. The fate of the entire sect has completely fallen into his own hands. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 40, The Rebellion of the Black Gas Little Bean Ding. Late at night, several small beans quietly gathered, and the figures covered in black gas were intertwined. Senior sister is too soft, we can test the bottom line. A little bean said in a low voice. Ye King Guo hid in the dark to observe, sweating in his heart. These children are not only cowardly, but also hide rebellious and dangerous forces. Want to rebel? Pass me first. Ye King Guo whispered in his heart, his spiritual power surging like a tide. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 41, The Flame of the Demon Realm reappears. Lu Lycan once again used the power of the demon world. The crack in the spirit platform continued to expand, and the flames engulfed the air. Ye King Guo had to suppress it with all his might, and the spiritual power collided with the demonic flame, causing the entire sect to tremble slightly. She thought to herself, the future lord of the demon world is by no means easily controlled by her. If this power is not stitched, the sect will fall into endless chaos. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 42, The Power of the Ghost World Runs Amok. Mo Yuchen summoned the undead in the depths of the ancient tomb, and the evil energy spread like a surging tide. Ye King Guo followed quietly, her soul trembling slightly. The power of the second junior brother has exceeded her imagination. If there is no checks and balances, the sect may be directly swallowed up. She secretly vowed, even if she had to fight against her disciples, she would keep the bottom line of the sect. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 43, The Power of the Demon World is out of control. Su Mingli cast a demonic spell in the spirit lake, the water waves rolled, the demonic aura was entangled like a snake, and the light and shadow were like a dream. Senior sister, don't you think this is exciting? She blinked, and the demonic aura fluctuated to reflect the strange light in the night sky. Ye King Guo looked at her and secretly warned, if this demonic power gets out of control, it will directly threaten the safety of the sect, and the responsibility for mending the broken world falls on her shoulders. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 44, Prelude in the Cracks. The crack in the spirit platform faintly flashed red, like a warning and a precursor to future power. Ye King Guo stood on the crack, his spiritual power rolling, and secretly calculated in his heart, if he did not lay out in advance, the sect would be completely defeated by the power of his disciples. Lu Lycan, Mo Yuchen, and the little junior sister all secretly exerted their power in the night, and the black energy, yin energy, and demonic energy were intertwined into a storm. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 45, The Beginning of Sewing and Mending. Ye King Guo took a deep breath and stretched out his hand to use his spiritual power to temporarily seal the crack, while secretly observing the movements of the three disciples. The work of sewing and mending starts now. She whispered, her eyes shining with determination. The light of the spirit platform flickered, the black energy was gradually suppressed, and the yin energy and demonic energy were guided. She knew, this is just the beginning, the real challenge is yet to come. Chapter 46, The sect is completely collapsed. The first rays of dawn shone into the spirit platform, but they could not dispel the black energy, yin energy, and demonic energy that permeated the surroundings. Lu Lycan used the power of the demon world. The flames were like a mad dragon devouring the spiritual energy. Mo Yuchin's ghost world yin energy invaded every corner, and Su Mengli's demonic energy surged, dyeing the lake water a demonic red. Yeking Guo stood on the spirit platform and felt every inch of the sect's space trembling. This is the tragedy of all the destruction. She took a deep breath, and her spiritual power gushed out like a torrent, temporarily suppressing the cracks and chaos. Master, the layout of all your villains is really a test or a ill treat? Yeking Guo muttered to himself. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 47, Disciples' Power Explodes. As night fell, the three disciples each mobilized their full strength. Lu Lycan's demonic flames were like the sea, burning the entire spirit platform red. Mo Yuchin's yin energy condensed into a giant ghost, devouring spiritual power, and whispering shockingly. Su Mengli's demonic aura rolled, and the lake turned into a strange vortex of intertwined light and shadow. Yeking Guo was forced to use the spiritual power of the entire sect and use the suppression method. Light and darkness, yin and demon, fire and spirit intertwined over the sect, exploding into a scene like the end of the world. She knew clearly in her heart, if she didn't mend it, the sect would be completely destroyed. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 48, Master's Love Brain Intervention. Just when the chaos reached its extreme, Soul Lion appeared with a luminous flower in her hand and said with a faint smile, King Guo, you have worked hard. He stretched out his hand and waved it lightly, temporarily sealing the power of the three disciples, and the black energy, yin energy and demonic energy receded half like a wave. Yeking Guo looked at Master and was surprised by his strength and layout. Master, you. Is it a love brain or a comprehensive layout? Soul Lion smiled mysteriously. Which one is more important, love or layout? See for yourself. Yeking Guo knew in her heart that real mending required her to go all out. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 49, Mending the Broken World. Yeking Guo closed his eyes and mobilized all the spiritual power of the sect, and the light emanated from the spirit platform, spreading to every crack like a torrent. The cracks slowly closed, the black energy was suppressed, and the yin energy and demonic energy were guided into the barrier. Although the power of Lu Lycan, Mo Yuchin and Su Mengli was still turbulent, they gradually stabilized under her exquisite stitching. Yeking Guo smiled secretly in his heart, this broken world is finally going to be sewn into a complete shape by me. Light and darkness intertwined, and the world seemed to be reborn. The sect regained its balance again. Although some cracks still remained, it was no longer collapsed. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 50, The Smile of the Stitcher. The dawn sunlight shone through the green jade window lattice into the sect. Yeking Guo stood on the spirit platform, smiling slightly. Sew and mend, and finally, it's temporarily closed. Although Lu Lycan, Mo Yuchin and Su Mengli still had strong breaths, they were also controlled by her. While Master Soul Lion smiled lightly, the fragrance of flowers was as good as ever. Yeking Guo looked at this shattered and reborn sect, and understood in his heart that mending was not the end, but a new beginning. The world is in tatters, but as long as she is there, there is the power to mend it, there is hope, order and infinite possibilities for the future. The breeze blew, and the black energy, yin energy and demonic energy were slowly suppressed by the light, and the sect exuded a warm aura like a newborn. Yeking Guo laughed softly, Sect, it's sewn up. Now, let's take on new challenges.